What's up, Summoners? King Blair here. Today, we're going to be doing a full RTA tier list breakdown of all the different units, and we're going to use kind of a unique tier list ranking, but overall, it'll still rank them pretty well. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe and join the Discord link. Biggest one being subscribe, because if we get enough subscribers and enough people join the community, we'll be able to host tournaments. I ideally want to be able to host tournaments with potentially prizes, but for that to happen, we have to have a lot more subscribers. So make sure to subscribe. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Before we begin the full tier list breakdown, let me talk about each of the tiers and also some general information about RTA. So for RTA, I'm going to use the assumption from bronze even all the way to like legend. The assumption is that everyone has all the units and everyone has the units well geared. So that's the assumption I use when I'm making this tier list. So everything is geared properly, everything is made well. That's what this tier list uses. It's also being used, I use information from a lot of different legend players, other champion players, and my own experiences as a champion player, and kind of putting that all together. Also, if you want to do good in RTA, you should probably have at least 8 units built, with 3 of them being at level 90 gear if you want to make it to Masters for sure. Because if you have that 8 units, it's good enough that if they pick one of your units, you still have counter pick options, you still have top tier options. So just know that to climb, it's not just the units, you need the gear, and you need to be aware of everything. But all right, enough of that, let's talk about each of the tiers. So at the top, I put never bad or never used. I've never seen them be played. I've never even seen this unit doing anything. So in the comments, if you've used it and you think the unit is really good, or for any of them for that matter, let me know if you think I was wrong in any of them. The next tier is first pick ban. So these are units that are highly contested units. These are units that like everyone is trying to get in the first 2 rounds. So like the first round, first person with first pick, they'll pick it, or they'll just ban it straight out. So that's the units that are most highly contested. The next is solid picks or meta units, which is like all the units that are super good for RTA. They're not necessarily worse than the first pick ban. It's just that they aren't as high in demand because either not as many people run them, or not as many people like their playstyle, or they have different teams built around, and there's other units that are more important with the first pick ban. So these are just other super strong meta pick units. Next is solid counter picks. It's mostly to counter pick the meta, because in RTA, one of the biggest things, usually the first 3 units for each player are their meta picks and their first pick bans, and then they'll start picking counter picks to your team. So that's usually the last 2 slots of a team. So that's why counter picks are really important to have. Next is niche pocket picks. These are units that in some scenarios shine really, really well, and when they're built right, they can do a lot of work, but they need really good setup, really hard setup. They need the right conditions to be met, so they won't always perform the best. Outclass just means that there's a better option from the other list, that it's just strictly better. It doesn't necessarily mean that unit is a bad unit. It just means that in the grand scheme of things, that unit is not going to provide as much as if you had the other unit. And again, we're using the assumption that you have all the units. So there might be a unit that even though they're in the outclass section, they might still fill a role, and we'll talk about them as we go. So all right, let's start. As first, Assassin Cartuja. I'm gonna say he's niche. Why? Because you shouldn't rely on RMG and RTA. That's one of the biggest things. But there are scenarios that, you already have your tank team set up, like to counter Athletica. So you might want to try an Assassin Cartuja, and he might give you that extra edge over your opponent by adding the 15% miss chance. We talked about consistency. In offense, is not that good, and RTA is kind of an offensive-defensive game, so he definitely falls in the niche tier list. Assassin Sid, solid counter pick. Biggest counter that Assassin Sid has is to fast teams, such as like Athletica and like Oxlots, because he's in a faster tier list. So assuming all gear is equal, he will usually be faster than them, be able to silence them, be able to steal souls. He can really counter those cleave teams hard and be able to just absolutely obliterate them. He can also, even if they decide to go for a tankier cleave team, he's just so fast. He's able to take turns. He gets evasion chance. And if you pair him up with a made Chloe, it makes it pretty hard to take down when he has that evasion up. Same thing with Assassin Kali. The stun comes in handy. It can get resisted against tanky teams, and the big gimmick is that she gets stealth. So if the team doesn't have any AoE units, or if they only have one AoE unit you can lock down or stun, Assassin Kali will completely obliterate their team. And same as Assassin Sid against ML heroes, he can take him down. Oxlots, solid meta pick. One of the best combat readiness boosters. Just having him and another combat readiness booster puts your opponent like in a situation where they have to counteract your cleave. And a lot of the times, that's not possible. Because there are times where if they get the right picks and you don't get the right ban, and they get a really good ban on you, then it's rough. It's hard to beat a cleave team if you are not prepared for them. Sagebon Sasson, outclassed. This is just strictly better than him right now. I could see him becoming better in the future if he got exclusive equipment, because he does seem pretty unique, but he just doesn't have that extra edge that Dizzy does. Basar, our first pick or ban. Tank teams hate this guy, so they will usually ban him. So like people with Crow, Lilius, Made Chloe at Seaside Bellona style comps, they will ban him straight out. He's so good at pushing back, removing buffs, and if you put Abyssal Crown on him, stunning can get you wins that you shouldn't be getting because it's that good. So he definitely is one of those units that if it doesn't get banned, you might want to consider picking it up for your team. He can also fit in tank teams, he can fit in sustain teams. So he has a lot of versatility, which is why another reason he's so high. Bellona's niche pocket pick. She's a defense breaker. She can push back, but there's situations where, if they have a tanky team with immunity, she's not going to be doing much. If they have a really fast cleave team, she's not going to be doing much. So there's very few scenarios where you actually are going to want her as your defense breaker. But, there's still times where it's actually pretty good. Blaze Dingo. This is a pocket pick for sure because he can destroy a team if they can't take him out within before he uses his buff, it's GG. If you're using a squishy team. The reason why I say pocket pick is because tank teams can tank out his damage. Blaze Dingo has really low base stats, but he's actually really, really cool build. And I've lost to a couple of them because I wasn't able to one-shot him right away because they paired him with FCC. And I don't have the best tank team. I mostly use Sustain Cleave and Bruiser comps. So it's like Blaze Dingo can definitely do some work against those booster style comps with that greater attack and then invincibility. So definitely a counter pick, really good in situations where they have a not so tanky team like a Bruiser team. BBK, this one's weird. I'll put her in solid counter pick because she's a really good cleave unit, but there's also the potential that the unknown potential that if you have a counter attack BBK with 15k HP on a tank team, y'all, it destroys Spectre Tenebria. Why? Because they'll be trying to kill the BBK as soon as possible because most people assume she's for cleave. But if you put her in a tanky team where she's protected with Moonlight Dreamblade, people are going to miss on her. She gets attack up, she gets her health low, so her passive skills, she can wipe out a Spectre Tenebria. She can do so much damage against Bruiser comps and sustain comps that it's pretty nasty, and the counter attack really does her. It gives her so much survivability. I think she's a solid counter pick. This guy never use, even in the specialty change, her never use. Carrot niche for sure. Actually, solid counter pick. Why? She can counter Basar. That's the big thing. Basar is a really big threat, and one of the things that specialty kit change Carrot. I don't think that's specialty change. I'm pretty sure it is. But one of the biggest things, she gets a pretty thick barrier with her passive and does a lot of burn damage. So if they don't have immunity, you can kill a lot of units with the burn. So if they have a very heavy Rowana, Charles, what's the name of the Basar for sure, she can really do a lot of work with them. Assassin Cartuja or regular Cartuja, never see play. CC niche pick. It's if you don't get Lilius. If they get Lilius Basar, you're already at a disadvantage. But if you get a chance to put CC on your team, she can do a lot of disruptions that people kind of sleep on her on that. And she's super tanky too. She has really high stats. So if Lilius is taken and they have the Basar as well, if you first picked someone else and you're running a tank comp and they have Lilius Basar, she's a pretty good counter pick against that because she's able to just provoke them after the Basar takes his turn and then just absolutely wreck the rest of his team. Celeste, outclass. I can still see her being used every once in a while if you have Challenger Dami. If you're trying to steal the Challenger Dami and you have her build, it can guarantee you first turn if you get her and Challenger Dami. So not a lot of people some people might let her go past. Same with Celesta Mercedes. The difference between her and BBK is that Celesta Mercedes only works in the cleave, and she's slow, and she's kind of squishy. So it's kind of like you're going to be losing against tank teams. And the double AoE damage, it kind of hurts her that it's in 2 because she might get counterattacked. You have to build her immunity. There's a lot of stuff you have to do for her to make her really good in RTA. And it's a lot of setup required where there's other units that just do better in AoE. Tanjidami, solid pick. She's amazing for any cleave team. She's amazing for if they are doing a cleave team and you put her and you do your own counter cleave team. Really, really solid. She's just a good pick. If you're using a cleave team, you're probably using Tanjidami because she'll give the rest of your team that extra boost needed. She'll help you lap. The soul burn on her is insane. You can one-shot a unit out of the planet. I'll run her every once in a while when they start getting a lot of tanks and I know they're going to put a squishy unit. I'll put her in with my Bazaar because I know if I get first turn, I can wipe out their 1 damage threat and it's GG. So very, very solid. This guy outclassed. I could see him being on some tank comps, but there's just better options for tank teams. Charles, he's not a solid meta pick, surprisingly. He's just a really good counter pick. Why do I say that? Why isn't he in solid pick? So as I mentioned before, consistency is a big thing in this game. Charles, while he's really good, and if he pops off, he pops off. There's times where Charles is not that good. If there's a Kieran, that Kieran is going to absolutely wreck your Charles. Bazaar counters him pretty hard, but Charles does have an advantage over Seaside Bellona and some other really heavy, like Diani. Really nice to have a Charles. So they're putting a lot of buffs and pretty slow, and they don't have a protect the castle type comp, like protect the glass cannon type comp, and it's just tanks. He can actually counter tank teams pretty well because if he gets a lot of counterattacks, he can strip buffs, he can get damage down, he can protect, he'll survive himself for some time. And that overtime damage can win you the fight, but you can't rely on the passive 100%, which is why he's not a solid meta pick. There's times where Charles is not the best pick. He's just a solid counter pick against those water-heavy teams, which there are a lot of, so you will be using him. She just gets outclassed. She can stun every once in a while. She's tanky, but that rework did nothing for her. She really doesn't do anything. This guy, we already have the other one. Sid is interesting. I put him in niche pocket pick because it's really nice to have the extra speed, and if you're running a really fast team comp that you know they're trying to start tanking you out and trying to do their own protect the castle, Sid can actually come in and take out that priority unit. If you have a Singelica cleave, if they let it go through and you know you can get a good cleave off, then it's a solid pick. Plus he can counter Arbiter Mildred himself as well. So if you do a Singelica team comp with him and Mildred, you're going to get Teague first turn. They try to ban that Singelica because of Arbiter Mildred. Your Assassin Sid should still be able to carry the damage. So pretty good pick. But overall, like if you have a good one, he'll definitely do work for you. But not all the time. Not a unit you want to be picking like early on in like the first 3 rounds. Lorena just gets outclassed as a single target damage dealer. Corvette gets outclassed. He's okay. He's a good, like, he can still be Bazaar. But there's just better options. Lilius being the main one. Chanjidami, solid counter pick. If they have a lot of debuffs, having immunity on your team, having the protection of Crimson Armin, and if you have the right team comp, Crimson Armin can give you a whole extra turn taking no damage. So she can definitely mess up some teams that are like slow, sustained debuff damage teams. There's a lot of Dizzy team comps, and she does a pretty good job at counteracting them, plus keeping your priority units alive. Dark Corvus, outclassed. He can still do work, but Krau's just completely better than him. Can one-shot just like Corvus, but can do way more things. Destina, outclassed. As a healer, there's Ray. Ray does what Destina does. Yeah, there's a counterattack with Destina, but Ray, you're probably building him counterattack as well. He can basically do the same thing Destina can, but he also has a barrier. So she definitely got outclassed here. Deanne also outclasses her. Dingo, never use. Doris, never use. Elson, Sino, doesn't see any play. CMC, I've actually never seen one, so I'll put him here because I don't know how good he is, but there's way better mages out there. Pioneer Cleary, niche, pocket pick. She's pretty good. She can be pretty good. If they have a really, there's sometimes that people will do Shooting Star Arcades comps, or they'll do like Euphine and try to get them to have like they'll try to cheese you. So it's nice to have her for those scenarios. Also, if you're worried that your tank team isn't getting enough turn advantage, Falconer clearly does a really good job of getting that. So there's times where you do want to use her, but overall there's better options. You'll rarely be using her, but if you do, it's usually because you want to get those extra turns, you want to get that extra sustain, you want to lock down someone that could start the fight with immunity. Fighter Maya, I think she's a solid counter pick to debuff teams, and when you have a tank comp, because she's able to sustain past the debuffs, and she's able to counterattack, kill squishy targets, provoke, mess up the opponent a lot. General Purgus, solid counter pick against Athletica, gives your team advantage, super, super solid. Luminrain, never use. Gutter Aether, never use. Gunther, as much as I would like him to be viable in RTA, the second they see Gunther, they're going to ban your Lilius if you're trying to pick Lilius. So even if you get Lilius Gunther, you're guaranteed to know that one of them is getting banned. Haste, outclass. He can still do good AoE, but there's better AoE units, with better health that won't die as easily. Hazel's never use. Helga, niche. There are some weird Helga builds out there, and some people try to cheese with her, and it's really funny. I think it's really cool that people try certain cheese comes with Helga, but everyone's seen the videos by now. They'll know what to ban, but still, it forces a ban, which Helga still gives your team speed, still gives your team attack, so you can build a team around her, but it takes a lot of resources to do that. Horado, again, can be used as a counter pick, but most combat readiness boosters are going to be like Athletica. Only like Oxlots comes to mind, but it's nice that he cuts healing, so that part is pretty nice, and the part that he can strip does come in handy against those heavy healing teams, so in that case, he can do pretty good. But he just dies too quickly. That's the biggest problem with him, which is why he's just niche and not a straight up counter. Iseria, Tama. If you put Iseria, people know you're going to be picking Tama, so they might even pick her out from you, and she just doesn't do enough to warrant her being like a solid counter pick. It's just kind of, if you get the double pick and you already got an Athletica and you can pick her and Tamarine, then it puts him in a really hard spot, because if they ban the Iseria, then you could have anything else in those other two slots. So it forces a ban, which can be really good if you get the option to get, if you have an Athletica and you have Athletica, followed by Iseria Tama in your next turn, that could be pretty good, because it puts them in a scenario where they're like, okay, what do I ban now? So it makes it harder, because they're like, okay, you're probably going to put two other attackers, and then they're like, what should I ban? So it puts them in a really hard spot. Jet, never use. Kisei. This is hard, because she's kind of just a good cleave team. So I just say she's solid, because if you have a good cleave team with just Kisei, you're going to be doing work. She is still one of the best cleavers with a soul burn. She can wipe out a whole team. She can counter Kieran, which is a really good unit. She's just a solid pick. She's a good cleave unit, probably the best cleave unit that there is. So definitely deserves a solid meta pick. Judith, outclassed. There's better combat readiness boosters. Kieran, solid meta pick. People will try to first pick him, but there's better options. I still feel like Crow is a better option at first picking. If you have a god like Kieran like I do, then yeah, you would be first picking him. But most of the time, people usually pick Kieran after they see Bazaar, because their water is still very prevalent with Diani, Crow, Seaside Bellona. So you have to pretty hard commit to Kieran. So that's why he's not a top like ban or nothing. Ken, solid pick. I don't know why people sleep on Ken. He's a really good counter to Bazaar. He does a lot of damage. He's tanky. He's beefy. He's just a solid RTA unit overall. He doesn't bring as much damage as like a Kieran, but he's still pretty hard to take down. So against certain cleave comps, she'll do really good, especially against Bazaar. Curious, never used. She's not meant for this. She gets outclassed by Lilius. That's the big thing. Chloe, we already talked about her Falconer counterpart. Leo. I've seen people use Leo, but like with Specimen Says, but it's just, it doesn't work that well, y'all. It's not worth it. Lidica, solid counter pick to Bazaar. And just overall, like if they have a really fast team comp, Lidica pushes one of the fastest base speeds. So it's really easy to build. She can counter some of the assassins as well, because you can just straight up build it with effectiveness. And it's pretty crushing. Like that unit basically doesn't get a turn when she gets the ultimate on them. And she can also take off debuffs from the tanky teams. So she's good at locking down priority targets against tank teams. I think she's a solid counter pick, and she's fire. So if the Bazaar happens to outspeed you, you still have a chance to resist. Lorena, I think we already did Commander Lorena, so we'll put her up here. There's probably some cheese with him, but I don't think he's that good. Ludwig gets completely outclassed. Maid Chloe, solid meta pick. You've probably seen a bunch of Maid Chloes. She's just super strong, hard to deal with, does a lot of damage. Just a good unit. The attack buff is insane. Revive is insane. There's not that many counters to her. She's just a solid unit. MLK for the same reason. If they touch him and they crit on him, their squishes are gonna go bye-bye. So again, super solid. Hazel, no. Regular Maya, no. Mercedes. Okay, high key, I have gotten beat by Mercedes cleave count, and I didn't ban her because I didn't know how much damage she did. So I'll put her in outclass because she can actually do a lot of damage. Which is kind of weird to say that. But I actually did get one shot. Like my Lilius got one shot by a Mercedes skill 3. So I was like, It was like in Champion too. Like it was like this person using Mercedes in Champion. And I was like, why? That's crazy. But Mersa, solid pick. Y'all, people sleeping on Mersa. Mersa has a 50% evasion. And when she evades, she gets attack up and speed up. She does a lot of damage. And she's decently tanky. You'll usually see her in tank comps as the one damage dealer that usually you're trying to focus down, but 50% evasion is so high. And she's fast, she hits hard, she gives the whole team speed, a speed imprint. She's just a solid unit. If she ever gets a specialty change, she could become one of the best units in the game. This guy's bad, she's bad, she's bad, she's bad. Purgus, he gets outclassed. He's annoying. He can counterattack. He can stun. But there's overall better boosters than him. But, you know, actually, I'll put him in niche. Because he's pretty annoying. Especially if you have Bazaar and your whole team doesn't have immunity. Or if you have any unit that does AoE. Like, even your FCC does her AoE. He can counterattack, stun, and kind of mess up the team. Take off the buff you already gave. He's usually on the slower side. And his stats are okay. But in certain teams, he can actually do really, really well. Phyllis, she just gets outclassed. She has really cool kit. I think she actually, if she ever gets a specialty change, I think it'd be pretty cool. But until then, she's just okay. Ross, I don't know if they have specialty change Ross, but he's just a solid unit, y'all. People were saying that he wasn't going to be that good. He's so annoying. The defense buff is huge. The stripping people put him on Elder Sword. He counterattacks, gives himself combat readiness, strips your buff. His S2, being able to attack with the highest damage dealer and defense break, can kill a lot of units. So for being a tank, he brings a lot to the table. And he has self-sustain. He won't be able to just win by himself, but he's just a really good, solid tank option. Robbie just gets outclassed. I really want her to get like an exclusive art equipment, or like it's probably gonna be an exclusive equipment, and I think she could actually be really good in the meta, but right now she just gets outclassed by like her counterpart. She's bad. Rusid just gets outclassed. He's cool, like, there's occasionally he's decent. Rickers is bad. I could see her be used. I'm gonna be real with you guys, but for the most part, you're probably not gonna be using her. As we said, this is regular Rusid, so no. Rule Light, solid meta pick. Honestly, better than Maid Chloe because she's tanky, she gives invincibility, and she doesn't, like the invincibility, you don't need to have the unit die. And she's just so hard to deal with. The thing comes up like, I think it's like every 4 turns. And then she also has like a really good cleanse with barrier. She's just a really freaking good unit. I used to think Maid Chloe was better because of the attack buff, but there's cases in tank teams where Rule of Light is just strictly better. She's so hard to deal with, y'all. You can't really one-shot her. She's just really hard to deal with. Watch a Shuri, pocket pick. Some people have really good Watch a Shuris, and they're really fast, do a lot of damage, and just overall do a lot of work. She's good in Golem, but not in this. Shadow Rose, absolutely outclassed. I could put her in outclassed. I'll put her in outclassed actually, because you could use her. She's good at combat readiness boosting. She has the artifact, but they did her dirty by not giving her speed on her exclusive equipment, because that would have made her so much better. But they didn't do that, so she's just average, you know. She's good for Banshee, and that's about it. But she still can strip, she can still defense break. You might still use her, which is why I'm not going to put it in never use, because she still has the things she can do. Shooting Star Kitties is pretty pocket pick. I've seen people put her with Kieran, and Kieran basically becomes a killing machine for 3 turns. He already is a killing machine. So if they don't have any debuffs, and you put Shooting Star Arcades with like Kieran or anyone that can do high damage, oh, you're going to be doing a lot of work. Silk, no. She's just a no. Alright. Silver Blade Arimathea, solid meta unit. AoE stun is kind of broken. If you get the strip like Athletica or Visard, it's GG. It's pretty hard to deal with her. It's either like you have to kill her early, or you have to ban all their buff strippers, which they'll probably have to. So just really, really good. Specimen says, oh shoot, she's supposed to go up here. All right. Specimen says, solid counter pick. He's good for what he does. Spectre Tenebria, solid meta pick. Can do so much damage from the back. And if they don't have enough AoE damage to kill her, she can kill a tank team if you give her some sustain. And if you have the tank team, she can hide so well behind like a Crawl, a Lilius, and a Paula Cecilia. She can just hide in the back. Can't be touched unless it's AoE. So it forces them to take an AoE champion. And even then, it's like, will it be enough with like all the barriers, all the artifacts? If no, she's going to curve stomp them. She's also good in cleave teams, like with Oxlots. If she gets the S3, kills the target, pushes them back, oof, it's crushing. She's just a solid unit. She's never used. Let me. That thing keeps popping up, which makes it so much smaller. So we'll put her up there. All right. Sven. No, he's bad. We'll put him here in tier 1 so we can put him up here. The video's gonna go a little slower now because this app does get kind of small. As we mentioned, with Tamarine paired with Iseria can be pretty good. Spectre Tenebria, yo, this unit, oh, so tilting. I ban her every single time I see her. Every time she goes, she sleeps. She can push back combat readiness, AoE defense break. Y'all, Spectre Tenebria is super good. Right now, she's stupid good. She's like just, oof, she's amazing. So I'm gonna, okay, this needs to stop coming up like this because it's starting to annoy me a little bit. So we'll skip. I don't know where she went. Oh yeah, she went right there. So we'll put her up there. She's bad. She used to be really good. I wish they reverted the changes on her. I think she could be really good if they reverted the changes, but they're not gonna do that. All right, Mildred. Solid counter pick. Really fast, give you the speed up. If you're running a cleave team and they start trying to out cleave you, putting him in with the speed imprint will make it so you are guaranteed the first turn and they are not. So pretty good in that scenario. Violet, pretty niche. If they have a lot of water, you can actually kind of do some work with them. We're gonna start putting. Man, I really didn't want to start doing this, but we're gonna start skipping the baddies. Because it's starting to get kind of crowded. And we still got quite a few units. Watch a Shuri, niche pick. The speed is nice, can counteract Amokens. Yufine, solid counter pick with Oxlots. She can kill, she can do a lot for the cleave. Just solid unit. Soul Bad Guy gets outclassed, so we can just put him there straight now. How do I hide this? I wish I could hide it. Man, that's annoying. Dizzy. Dizzy makes me dizzy. That's what she's meta for sure. She's so strong. She has counters in Champ C and like DJ Basar, but she's pretty impressive. Baiken, oh, good Baikens. You can build her really fast and people won't expect it. And she's faster than Oxlots. She's about the same speed as Athletica. So if they don't know how fast your Viking is and you have a really fast Viking, you can win the game with that. If they ban your other combat readiness booster, you can also mess them up, make them think she's fast, but she's actually like big damage, and she can do a lot of damage to tanks. Sageball, again, he's actually pretty good. I don't understand when people like trash on him all the time. He can strip buffs, he can put people to sleep. His S3 sucks, and if it ever gets a buff, he'd actually be really good. But right now, it's just bad. Serbia, again, niche pick when you want to take out tanky Earth heroes. Crescent Moon Raiden, pretty good actually. Really good against tank comps. I'm actually putting her in counter pick because she's really fast. She can steal immunity from a priority target and give it to your team and give your team immunity. She can steal barriers. She can just make it so you're getting the buffs they should be getting. I actually want to build my Crescent Moon Raiden because I think she would help me a lot against tank teams, especially with Deanne being so prevalent. And even like Maid Chloe. Imagine stealing like the S3 from a Maid Chloe. Now your team has a revive and they have to deal with it. It's pretty nice. Paula Cecilia, y'all know. She actually... first pick ban. People will grab her first. People want to have their Fawn Cecilia. It doesn't matter if they're running a cleave team, they're going to be grabbing her. The barriers are busted. The skill fire is busted. It's just good. Luluka gets outclass. Champ C, solid counter pick. Just solid unit overall. He's really good against Dizzy. Really good against like heavy debuff teams, which there are a couple of them out there. So he can definitely mess up someone's day. But the biggest counter he has is against Dizzy, and he's a nice pick against Moonlight Arimathea. Lilibet, niche pick. It's only if they have Extinction, and if they have like Arbitrability and Maid Chloe. Not the best for it, so it's kind of nice to have, but not the best. Cisa Bellona, solid meta pick unit. Vivian niche, she's fast. Cisa Bellona, let me just say, still really, really good. Gets countered by Roana, which is why she's not first picked all the time. Actually, I'm going to put her up here because a lot of people will first pick her. Why? Her only real counter is like Roana. And Charles counters her. But Roana's the big one. And if you ban the Roana out, they no longer have the counter to the seaside. And she can just curse stomp them. People build her super tanky. People build her damage. She has so much versatility. Destroys Kieran, destroys fire teams. She's just a really good unit, and the fact that it's only Roana that counters her makes it so it's an easy choice for the person playing her to just ban out the Roana or just ban her from the beginning. So definitely a first pick unit. If they don't ban it, she can win you fights. All these are trash. Apocalypse Ravi, super meta unit, super good. On strong teams with Crimson Seed, I honestly think it's the best. That and Timeless Anchor, because not being able to lock her out, she can put up a lot of damage. It's scary if she counterattacks and you're running a cleave team. She just does a lot of work for you. Angelic Montmorency, solid pocket pick. It's counter pick actually. I think I already talked about. Oh, that was another attempt at this tier list. But overall, the heals are nuts. The immunity is super nice. And a lot of times, if they pick Deanne, you can pick her, or you can pick her and Deanne. If they bring like Kieran, and then Kieran's it becomes a useless pick. So that's the biggest thing why she's a really good counter pick to like Kieran, because she's tanky, she heals a ton, and she can consistently remove debuffs, which lets her also counter Dizzy. So she's actually better than Deanne when they have a Dizzy in a lot of cases, because you're able to just cycle through the debuffs a lot faster. Let's see who is next on this list. Oh, Lilius. That's the next one. Oh, ML Crossit. He's a pocket pick. He's pretty tanky, pretty annoying to deal with the counterattack. But Fawn's heal is just strictly better than him. But it gets pretty annoying. Like the stun on his S1 with Elder Sword is pretty annoying. And if you have a really good Crossit, like decrossit, it's pretty annoying to get around. But he's literally just a meat shield. He won't really be doing that much damage, which is why he's a pocket pick. He's just there to add an extra layer of protection, extra layer of immunity if you want to protect your unit. It's just another choice. Lilius. She is first pick ban. In all the games I've probably played, she is always picked within the first round of picking. Like where you pick one and then two. Almost always will get that pick. Just like Crow, which we'll see later. Her being able to remove debuffs with her S3, her dual attack with S1, and the ability to lock someone out for 2 turns with Provoke, she's so good for a tank. And she's still like a tank. Even though she does mad damage with S3, like my Lilius, who's not built to do damage, does 4k on her ultimate, 4 or 5k on her ultimate just because Kieran is there. And if I dual attack with like Kieran or Spectre T, it's just like, she's so good. Definitely solid going first. Like, you want to pick her up first. Melissa, she's niche. She can be pretty good against certain team comps, but there's time, like, it's nice to be able to strip and then do the damage with her, and the fact that she doesn't need Soulburn is nice. She's pretty stat hungry. I really do think she needs some exclusive equipment that gives her either effectiveness or crit rate, because she needs, I think crit rate, like if they put an exclusive artifact that gives her crit rate, and maybe when like the target dies, it gives like some, like cannot be buffed to the rest of the team, or something like, I know it sounds crazy, but her job is to kill a unit, but once she does her job, it's like she's done basically. Like her S1 doesn't do much. The S2 is nice, but it has to kill for her to be able to survive. Kieran's just strictly better than her, but I think she has potential. I really do think she has a lot of potential, which is why I'll place her there. Let's DJ Basar, solid counter pick to Dizzy. Just a solid unit overall. Pushing immunity, certain, like being able to get immunity and push forward 30% helps a lot, especially if they're trying to like counterattack, and they're trying to push you back with Lilius, if they're trying to lock you down with Dizzy. It gives you at least one turn to deal with the Dizzy, if not more, if they don't have her on Layla Violin. So it does give you that opportunity to do a lot, and the heal is also really nice. The occasional stun does help you a lot. Let's see. Helga, I think I already talked about her. Yeah, she's right there. She's niche. Oh, there, I almost missed her. Alencia. Solid meta pick. Just solid. She's so strong. She's probably one of the best RTA units, because on a tank team, she's super tanky. She gives defense up. She's able to do a lot of work. On a bruiser team, she's able to strip all of the buffs that tank teams provide, and her S1 into S2 can do quite a bit of damage. And it's just really, really nice to have her. She's so strong. It's one of the units that I wish I had pulled for at the time. I don't know why I didn't. And they even did the refund on her. Oh, man, it would have been great if I had actually tried to pull for her, because she's one of the best units right now for RTA. Pavel, super niche, can sometimes kill Seaside, but you need some really good stats on him, and you need really good setup, and he's squishy, he'll die super fast, which is why he doesn't see more play. If he was a little tankier, he'd be able to do more work. Roana, the only real Dizzy counter. Or not Dizzy, the only real Seaside Bellona counter. If they don't ban her, like if you get Arbiter Mildred and then her, and they have Seaside, and you know they're gonna ban your Arbiter Mildred, and you let the Seaside go, Seaside Bellona heals for you, which is like GG. So she's really good to have on like tank teams, because she can mess up a Seaside Bellona. She can also counter Lilius, because Lilius always counterattacks with her S1. So that means that you're getting free heals and free combat readiness, which is kind of broken. Let's see, Cerise. Oh man, solid counter pick. Actually, just a solid unit. Solid meta pick unit. Cerise is actually, people still say Cerise is bad. And I don't understand why, because she's super fast. She puts restrict. She's faster than Athletica, so she can put restrict, and you're done. If you have Athletica and Cerise, and they put General Purgus isn't going to do anything. Cerise is going to make it so the whole team is restricted. She can strip, so there's another layer of stripping, and the speed down can really help you get advantage in a fight. Just a solid unit overall. I don't know if I talk about Luluka, but she's niche. I'll put her in there. Let's see. Elena. She's not meta status. She's solid counter pick, because if they have a lot of AoE, you get that extra turn, you get the invincibility, you can remove debuffs. She's pretty annoying. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. She's a really good add to tank teams. But overall, they're probably gonna be wanting to pick Deanne over her, just because Deanne just does more for your team. Her, it's nice to get the invincibility for a turn, and it's nice to get the heals when there's AoE, so you need them to have a lot of AoE for her to actually shine, which is why people won't usually pick her unless they're counter picking a very heavy AoE team. Let's see, going through. Helga, we talked about Ambitious Tywin. super niche. This guy, honestly, I don't think he needs a buff per se, Ambitious Tywin. I think what he needs is an exclusive art equipment, which they haven't released in a while. Why do I think that? Because being able to remove a debuff instantaneously, I think he could be a really good Bazaar counter. I think what they should do is when he removes a debuff, give your team combat readiness. Like give your team combat readiness, or maybe so that way it's like you can counter Bazaar, because Bazaar right now has no counters. And having a Bazaar counter like Emil Tywin, who like, okay, you land that cannot be buffed, he removes it and then gives you combat readiness. Ooh, I think that'd be really freaking solid on him. But I don't know. I'm not the balance team. I think he has potential if they give him if they give him a little leg. I think he could become like solid meta unit if they just give him a little help. Athletica, man. If you have her, she is by far one of the best units in the game. She's just broken. Like AoE strip, pushing the whole team 25%, and then turning someone's skill cooldowns to 0, being able to soul burn that so you don't miss, like it doesn't check effectiveness, makes it essentially so like Rule of Light, if you have 2 souls on her, strip Rule of Light of her immunity, soul burn, I don't care if you have 200 effective resistance, that ultimate is going on cooldown. And then having the skill nullifier, oh my god, I don't know what they were thinking, because it gives fast cleave teams the upper hand so hard, because not only do they get first turn, you also waste your turn essentially, because one unit is useless, they have skill nullifier, so one of your attacks is wasted, if not 2, and then it makes fights so one-sided, and there's not a lot of counters for her. The one counter that I will say, it's like General Purgus, which is why people are pairing her with Cerise, because Cerise just counters General Purgus, so it's kind of a weird dynamic. But overall, if you have her, you're going to be first picking her, because she will win you so many fights, just herself. It forces your opponent to have to deal with a really strong cleave. So just a good unit overall. Emil Charlet, another solid unit. She's able to counter Emil Ken. She's able to counter Apocalypse Robbie. She can counter heavy defense teams because she pierces defense. She gives immunity to herself. She's tanky herself. She's a warrior, so she has access to Sigurd's side, so she can survive. She can counterattack it. Like, she's just a solid bruiser team comp unit. Let's see, we're almost done there. Eden, I think he's actually not bad. I think he's a niche pocket pick. He has thick barriers, so he's actually not terrible. He's pretty annoying. If you have a good one, you have a really good one. Let's see, Kaoric, niche. He counters Bazaar, yes, but that's all he does. Like he won't bring you anything else to the table besides countering Bazaar. So if you really need someone to counter Bazaar and you don't have any other units, then yeah, by all means, Kaoric is a good option. Because he strips and he can do that, but he doesn't bring anything else to the table. He needs some help for sure. I think he actually just needs buff. I don't think an exclusive equipment can fix his problems. He needs an actual buff. Let's see, from these. Just Kise is niche. She can actually break through some barriers, which there's a lot of barriers right now in Arena. So definitely is really, really nice to be able to have that option. And then the reset cooldown, also pretty strong. She's also a candidate for getting an exclusive equipment. And I think she could be really good in the current meta. Because if they give her exclusive equipment that boosts her attack and then makes it so like her S1 maybe like doubles, like if it gives like 15% extra damage on her S1, she could basically do so much work against characters like Deannie and stuff like that. Arbiter Mildred, y'all, you guys already know Arbiter Mildred. You guys should already know that he's going to, you're either banning Arbiter Mildred or you're using him. Super strong for any team. There's no team where Arbiter Mildred is bad. You have a tank team, he's good there. Put Moonlight Dream Balloon on him, GG. You have a cleave comp with Athletic comp, Give him like Alexis Basket, GG. He gets a great attack, wipes any team, tank or not. Comes back to life, forces your opponents into situations they don't want to be. Solid unit overall. Let's see. Crow. This is the other one that's like, y'all, people sleeping on Crow. They're not sleeping anymore. They just know. Crow is probably, out of all the games I've played, and I've played like 180 games, 90% of the games, I see Crow. Why? He's tanky as hell. He can take out a unit right away. He gives a team defense buff, and he can provoke and he can push combat readiness back. He does everything that a tank needs to do while being one of the best tanks. He just literally is like, he does. It's just solid. He's just good. You put him on a bruiser team. Your bruiser team leaves longer because of the defense buff. You can push him back to disrupt their combos for tank comps. And then if they start targeting him, you use your ultimate and one unit is dead. Like, you can use it as an execution tool because if you give him Aureus, even if they don't attack him, he takes damage, which puts him in that scenario where he's going to kill. Just so good. So good. All right. Deanne. Again, another first pick ban. People don't use her in bronze through gold, and I don't understand why. Because once I started getting to like upper level master, challenger, champion, Deanne is everywhere. She's like my Chloe, but the thing about her is she gives the crit resistance, which if y'all don't know, the main way people do damage is through crit damage. Because there's not a lot of units that will do a lot of damage without crit damage. Crit damage is just the superior build. And she gives you a 50% chance to resist crits. She gives you a massive barrier, and she AoE dispels one debuff every like 3 turns. It's just, she's so oppressive. And the attack buff, it's so strong. She's just a solid unit. If you have her, build her right now if you're trying to climb, because you will win so hard with her. All right, let's see. Cess, completely outclassed by like Sigrid. So let's just go over the list. I don't think there's any other big unit. Oh, Challenger Dami. Or regular Dami. I think she's actually pretty good. She's a niche unit though. If they don't take any immunity and kind of taking a tanky team comp and they're just trying to put barriers, defense buff, she has a lot of AoE skills. That's done. So you can put Lele Violet on her and you can have someone that can stun pretty consistently, which really disrupts the fight. And if you get really lucky, you automatically win the fight. So she's a solid counter pick. Not enough people built her because she was trash for so long. And then they buffed her and no one really took a look at her. I think she definitely is someone who in some day will actually be really, really good. All right, besides that, everyone else, I keep saying that, but Acades, solid counter pick. To who? Basar. She can cycle S3 and S2 like every turn. So she can remove all debuffs, do mad heals. Her heals are pretty big, dispel all debuffs, and give someone invincibility. So in tank teams, if they start getting cute and putting Charles and trying to put like units to try to kill your unit, and you do the S2 and give invincibility, it's not gonna work out for them. Let's see, I'm gonna do that again. Kieran, niche. She's actually outclassed. She gets outclassed pretty hard. She's a single target damage dealer, but she can't do much besides that. And it's like, she doesn't bring any sustain to the table. She can't one-shot right away. She requires a defense break, which is a really bad requirement for her. And she has to crit. So there's a lot of conditions for her that make her not be as good as she used to be. There's just better units now. Alfeld hasn't been released. I'll talk about the units at the end for the summary, but he's not that great. No. First full row, you are not going to be seeing ever. If you see them, it's like someone trying to have a lot of fun, which is fine. It's fun to have fun in RTA. Second row, Tempest Surin. I really wish she was better because she looks really fun. And her kit looked really good when it first came out. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. But she just doesn't do, like, Basar's just strictly better. She needs a little bit of help. But I'll put her in niche. Because she can still strip. She can still do some work. She can still do things. So but definitely not as good as other units. Sigrid, I think she's actually one of the better counter picks to Arbiter Mildred, because if you pair her with Oxlots, she has the capability of killing 2 units with the Soulburn. And that's just so strong to have. Tywin, I think that's Tywin and Roman. So Roman, niche. It's nice if you don't have Basar. He's really, really good at being able to strip buffs. And he can be pretty annoying. I've actually gone against a couple of Roman, and Benevolent Roman isn't here either. So Benevolent Roman and regular Roman get pretty annoying. They're pretty niche though. They're hard to build, and there's just units that do their job better. But in certain team comps, they can actually do a lot of work and can mix up your opponent, which is the nice part. Same thing with Tywin. Some scenarios really like him, but most of the time, people just have so many barriers that defense break is like whatever. They probably already have defense up. So against tank comps, he's good against squishier team comps, but they would have to let you pick so many cleave units without them realizing that you're doing a cleave. Arimathea gets outclassed by a lot of mages. Luna is niche. She's good to kill certain target units. Every once in a while, you might want to use her because she does consistent single target damage, and the ultimate can defense break. It does a lot of damage with Soulburn, but overall, not gonna be using her a lot. Same thing with Angelica's just outclassed. Diani's just better. Angelic Momo's better. She's super tanky, can be annoying to take down with Idol's Cheer, but 1 Basar, 1 lockdown, and all she does is heal. No attack buff. It's okay. Clarissa gets outclassed. All these guys get outclassed. Same with Yuna. Just use Sin Angelica. So units I didn't see. So Singelica would go in the. So let me look at the time. So 51 minutes. Holy cow, y'all! This is gonna be a 1-hour video. Okay. So 52 minutes. All right. I'll put it in the comments. So this is the final tier list. Units that were not mentioned, that we did not see. Singelica would have been a solid meta pick. She's really good countering Arbiter Mildred, really good for cleave teams, solid attack buffer, which is why Yuna is all the way down there. What's the other one that I didn't see is Ray. He just came out. He's going to be a solid counter pick to Dizzy teams. His immunity is really strong. His cleansing is really strong. The barriers are strong. A lot of people are using Dizzy right now because of the recent GG collab. She finally can come in the game. Dizzy can be annoying because of Lela Balin. She AoE strips buffs. So having Ray in the team makes it so you have more ways to remove debuffs. And he's Earth, which makes it so he can't be stunned as easily by Dizzy. And then Benevolent Roman, niche pick. He can do some work, but yeah, this is it, y'all. Crimson Armin. She can do some really good stuff. But all right, let me scroll a couple times. So at 53 minutes. So overall, this isn't the end all be all, but generally first pick ban are units that you'll see you're gonna wanna pick first, or you're gonna want to ban, because more likely or not, you will see them. You 100% will see them in a majority of team comps. The solid meta picks, usually after you pick your priority picks, after like you pick the units from this top line, usually the solid pick, meta picks, you'll be picking, kind of trying to get which one's which, trying to decide which unit you like more. Solid counter pick units are just units that can counteract the meta, that can do so well, who are good, solid options to counteract a lot of the meta teams. They can do a lot of work, but most of the time, these are your last 2 slots you're picking. Niche counter pick units, if the stars align and if you have them built very well, these units can excel in certain scenarios where you might want to pick them up, where they can do some work for you, where they can actually be able to get you some wins because the opponent is not as familiar with them. So if the opponent isn't familiar with them and they don't know how to deal with them in the actual team, they can win you some fights. Outclass units that there are just better units out there, but you can still use if you don't have the other units. And then the ones down here, they're not used for RTA. You're never gonna see them in RTA. They just don't do that much work. And same with the ones up here. You won't see them in RTA. So I'll scroll through one last time. But that is it. That's all I got for you guys today. It's been a wild ride, y'all. Whew, I'm tired of talking. I can't believe I talked for 50 minutes. But that's it. That's all I got. I will see y'all next time. Peace.